Good day, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. It's interview time again. Today is Monday, and Monday is for most of us in the world the start of the week. So, have you taken some time this morning or this afternoon, or even today for that matter, to reflect on what is your intention for this week? Because most of us go through a day just jumping from one project to another one, from one activity to another one, and we hardly ever live intentionally. And at the end of the day, maybe even at the end of the week, we look back and thinking, what have I achieved this week? And there was a lot more that I wanted to. So take a couple of minutes to really reflect on and set your intention for this week. What would make this week an amazing week for you? So, and I have a treat today because I am speaking with Sammy Blindell. She is a multi-award-winning international speaker and a multiple best-selling author. So just a little introduction about Sammy, and I'm going to read this off the paper because I do not want to forget any of the juicy details, and I'm hoping she'll come up in a couple of minutes. Sammy Blindell, aka the Brand Brains International Branding and Visibility Coach. Sammy is a multi-award winning international speaker, multiple best-selling author, CEO of the global online resource How to Build a Brand, and founder of the Brand Builders Club, the world's most recommended support network for entrepreneurs to brand, build, and expand their purpose-driven businesses globally. I'm adding Sammy, so she's here. Let's hope technology is on our side today, this morning, and even Facebook, because that can be a challenge. But
Hello. Hello.
There she is. Hello.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Wherever you are watching. Hello.
Exactly. You never know. Sammy, how
I'm
are
bloody
you?
marvelous. Thank you. How are you? It's so good to see your smile. I love your smile. Like, how can, it's almost like being fearful of stuff and being in gratitude. You can't have those two emotions at the same time. You can't look at you and not be grateful and happy. Like, you just can't do that. You have got an awesome face.
Thank you. Well, I especially loved, and I think it was last week, someone who interviewed me said she has $1 billion smile.
You do. Work it, girlfriend.
Yeah. If that's not a compliment, I do not know. And we have some amazing ladies on the call.
Yay! Awesome. Hello, amazing ladies.
Hello, Brenda.
I can't see who's on, so.
Hello, Kay.
Hello.
Hello. So, what you said you're bloody amazing. What makes it bloody amazing?
I feel like my cockles are well and truly warmed. My heart is so full when especially because every day I start very intentional in the way that I do things. And actually, I was sharing this in the Motivational Monday call that we just had a little while ago, is that, I always start my day with my intentions. So, the date. Today is an amazing day, and I write my day as if it's already happened. So I'm sitting here feeling absolutely amazing because I'm looking at it as if it's already done.
Oh, wow. While you were getting on the call, I shared a challenge with the people that are either watching this live or on the replay to really be intentional about today and even this week.
Yes.
So really take a couple of minutes and think about what do you want this week or today be like? Because most of us are in a rat race. We jump from project to project, from activity to activity, and at the end of the day feel absolutely not fulfilled because we're thinking, what have I done actually?
Yeah. And I think it's really key, and we were talking about this a little while ago, is just understanding, it doesn't even need to be a whole day of a certain thing. You can break up your day. So for example, today, my word is intentional. So I'm being very, very intentional in today. So what are the intentions I'm setting for today? And for me, what I found is, because I've been so busy recently flying around, and now I've got a business partner in America that's taken a huge amount of pressure off me, so I haven't got to travel every 5 minutes, and so I actually can be at home with the family. And what I've realized is that I've got my gratitude journal, my business gratitude journal. This is just a pad that I wrote this on. I decorated this myself, right? So I've got my business gratitude journal. Yeah. And actually what I've realized over the weekend is I've been looking through all of my intentions. They've all been about business, and I haven't had any intentions in there about family, about me, personal self-care and things like that. And so I've been very intentional the last 3 days about adding those things in as well. And it's amazing how different the energy of the business is, because my energy is different. So yeah, I'm feeling absolutely brilliant today. It's like, wow, I'm looking at my list and I've already achieved this stuff. Rock star.
Yeah, fabulous. And it's an important gold nugget that you just touched on, is energy management. A lot of people have been conditioned to think time management, to think productivity, but it's actually managing your energy. Do you have some tips for those entrepreneurs that are watching and thinking, how am I going to get this done?
Well, definitely setting your intentions at the beginning of every day. And I say this to my team as well. When you come in, before you get started in anything, set your intention for the day. What is it that you are going to feel like you're enjoying right now, as if you've already enjoyed it? What are you going to have enjoyed achieving by the end of the day? And just pick 5 things. So that's a really great way for managing energy. Music, like, I won't say it too loud, otherwise it will actually start playing, but I've got Alexa. Oh dear, it actually just listened to me. So I've got it. You have to be so careful. Anyway, I've got her right next to me, and I'll just say, Alexa, play some upbeat music. And she'll be like, okay, Alexa, stop. She's about to start doing it. She's done it. Alexa, stop. So so energy management, music is a big part, right? If I've got energetic, upbeat music, that's a really good thing. So I'll start with that. The other thing that I'd suggest is managing energy is being intentional with your environment as well. So I've been very intentional. So Marie Diamond from The Secret, obviously she's feng shui master. She's one of the mentors in the Brand Builders Club. And at the Vision, Voice and Visibility Summit last year, she shared a strategy for making sure your environment is ready for success. Yeah. So my environment is totally set up for that success. I've got my my water feature, so that's constantly going, and so it's constantly bringing abundance into the office. I've got my success direction in front of me. I've taken magazines that I want to feature in and put my face over the top of them. I've got my book there. I picked up, when I was in Hollywood last year, I picked up a Lifetime Achievement Award that's there. It's only a fake one, but it doesn't matter. I've got, I ordered Play Money off of Amazon. So just little things like that. Go on to Prop Money on Amazon, and there's like $5,000 in £50 notes there, right? Just having these things in your environment. It's like, okay, so this week my intention is to bring £10,000 worth of new business this week. So I've taken 2 of my bundles of 50, and they are sat by my desk. So I'm intentional about what I'm setting. So managing my energy is so much easier if I've set my environment up to support me with that. The other thing, I'll just show you so you can see. So as you can see, so one of our members made this for me. I've got my my globe, because that's what we're doing. So my award, I ordered a, I don't know if you can see that there. I ordered a a fake like MBE, because that's what I want to do. I want to really make a difference with people. And then what else was, and then on my desk, for example, so you can see I've got it laid out. What are we focusing on for the next 3 months? So I'm very intentional in the way that we do things. And so the things that are the most important are the things that are in my environment. If it's not important, it goes outside. Even down to like James and Jen, their desk is there, and I'm like, you have to clean that off because that's in my success direction. The only things that should be on there are things that are going to support us with being successful. So any rubbish, get that out of the room. It's just being intentional with that, because it's so easy for stuff to back up and your desk to become really untidy or whatever, and things get thrown on it, or especially if you've got a team, other people are putting things on it all the time. But no, zero inbox policy. Like, I don't want emails in my inbox. I want them all done. So every morning, back to zero, right? So it's really important that you set yourself up for things that aren't going to distract you, that are going to support you to achieve your goals. Because when you're that one drop for yourself and for others, it creates a ripple effect. That means you're really a leader. You're standing up in your own power, which gives other people permission to do that too.
Exactly. Hi, Greg.
Hi, Greg.
For those for our watchers or on the replay, they're thinking, but my energy is drained. I mean, I can't even get up to dance to music. Do you have any tips for those? Category of entrepreneurs who we both know people.
For sure. So I think meditation is really good, and I've never really mastered meditation. I'm not a master of it by any means now, but I can, for about 5 or 6 minutes, I can follow a guided meditation. So Marie Diamond's app is brilliant. She's got a meditation called Tubes of Light. And whenever you're on my phone, so I can't show you, but it looks like when you go into the app store, if you type in Marie Diamond, it's got a little icon that's like the wheel. So she's got like a feng shui wheel, so it's about £5 or something like that. But then, and that's how I feng shuied my office and my house and my bedroom and everywhere. So, and it's Tubes of Light meditation, and it's maybe about 6 minutes, maybe 8 minutes maximum, but I cannot leave that meditation without feeling more positive. And I do it every morning. So what I'll do is I'll do about 10 to 15 minutes of yoga, followed by Marie Diamond's app, which is another 8 minutes, followed by setting my intentions for the day. And these were my intentions for today. So all in all, it takes me about 30 minutes every morning. And it just makes such a difference to my day. And even when and what I'd say is, like, when I don't do it, I have a terrible day. Not as in terrible disaster day, but I have a terrible day, and like I feel the same way that you described it. I go to bed feeling like I'm frustrated. I didn't go through any of my list. I got constantly distracted. I did, spent most of my time on Facebook or whatever. And so I just get into the flow of everyone else's stuff, which means I'm not in control. And so when I do this, then it really does make a difference. And when I don't feel like doing it is when I have to. That's when I would say you have to do it. So even if you don't like Marie Diamond's meditation or whatever, find a guided meditation. There are tons of them on YouTube. You could just find a guided 5-minute meditation. Headspace is a great app. It's like a free version of it. You can go for a more of a paid version where it unlocks lots of other things. But if you're just getting started, Headspace is a really good free version. There's lots of mindset tools that you can find in the App Center. And I would just try different ones and see which one works for you. But if you're really feeling unmotivated, the other thing that I would suggest you do is I've spoken about this before in the Brand Builders Club, I think, but I don't think I've shared this too much publicly, because I would probably get locked away in an insanity institution or something. But if I'm feeling really unmotivated and I don't know what to do or who to speak to, I think, okay, so who in the whole world, like if I could talk to anyone, and it doesn't matter if I know them, or not, right? If I could talk to anyone, who would be the best person to help me solve this problem? And I'll just sit here and I think that, and it's the first person that comes to mind. I don't think hard about it. It's the first person that comes to mind. And I might be experiencing a business problem or a family problem. It could be whatever it is. And I sit here and I think, who is it? And I've had times where it's like Richard Branson. Richard Branson would be the person to answer this, or Oprah Winfrey. She'd nail this. She'd have the solution to this. All right, I'm going for a walk with Oprah. I'm going for a walk with Richard, or I'm going for a walk with Steve Jobs. I'm going for a walk with Marie Forleo. Like, whoever it is that is the person that you think, out of the whole world, if you had access to anyone, who would it be? And I put my trainers on, my sneakers, and I just go for a walk, even if it's just up the road. I don't need to be in a park. I don't need to be anywhere else. I'm just having an internal conversation with that person. And I imagine them saying to me, okay, so what's the problem? What's the issue? What's going on for you? And I'll respond back. Now, it is better if you are in a park or somewhere where people are not looking at you, because I do prefer to actually verbally communicate the answer if I can. So I'll be walking around, and I'll take the dog with me, because then they think that I'm there I am throwing the frisbee. But
Talking
what I'm doing is I'm
dog.
actually talking to Oprah or Richard Branson, and I'm saying, well, here's the problem. And then I have them respond to me. So, but that's in my head. That's not them verbally responding. I'm the one doing the verbal response. So they'll say, well, have you thought about this? Or, well, it appears to me that here's what's happening. And so you kind of get some distance on your own problem, but you're giving yourself the solution, because you've got the solution inside you always. All you need is within you now. Everything you need to know is within you now about what you need to do for your next steps. So sometimes it just takes that little bit of distance, even with yourself. When someone says, have a word with yourself, that's what this is. But you're acting as if you have that person with you. And oh my gosh, that's got me through some seriously tough times, actually. Some times where I've just thought, I do not know where to go with this. I've never come up against this issue before, or I don't want to go through this again. And you can find yourself getting into negative language as well. Like, I don't want this. And here's what I don't want. And actually what we need to do is remove you from that space to, well, here's what I do want. I recognize what I don't want, and here's what I do want as a result. And it's having that conversation with yourself. And, and you don't then need to have, an actual conversation with that person physically, because you kind of are. You're already, because most of the time when you ask for advice, you're only getting, like, you go, oh yeah, I thought of that already, right? Most of the time. And so, it's, and then what happens is your partner or your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, they say, I've been telling you that for ages. Why is it you'll listen to Richard Branson, but you won't listen to me? Or you listen to the next door neighbor, but you won't listen to me? And ultimately it was already in there, and it's just bringing it out of yourself. That's what I would say.
Well, that's actually a very good answer to one of the things that Shamla just put into that meditation clears overwhelm, but doesn't answer the how. No, but having conversations with other people does, even if you're pretending, because it's about that distance. We're just so in our heads, and especially because we have a negative, our brain has a negativity bias. So it's very easy to get into negative language.
It is.
Everyone does it. It's a very normal human behavior. So as soon as we think overwhelm and too much, the first thing pops up, I can't do that, I don't know how to do that, I don't know. Usually we have a lot of things. I mean, I found that when I'm in a mastermind, for example, then the words are coming out of my, and I'm thinking at the same time, where is this coming from? This is getting so easily out of my mouth. As soon as I get behind my laptop and thinking, okay, I need to be doing something, I'm like, I don't know what to do. And if I'm helping someone else or supporting someone else, it just, okay. That's a weird
So record
experience.
yourself giving
so
that.
Shall not have conversation.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it, is to, again, as you just said, like, step out of yourself, act as if you're giving advice to someone with your problem. Like, loads of times, it's one of the first questions that I ask. If someone says to me, well, I'm having a problem with this, I'll say, well, if I had that problem, what would you advise me to do? And they'll tell me, and I'll go, brilliant, well, you just answered yourself. The other thing is, so like, have a candle or something. Just nick the one that I've got here. So I have a candle. I like rituals candles. I love my candle's called Happy Buddha. So how can you
Me
not be happy
too.
with having a Happy Buddha candle? It just smells so delicious.
I
So
know.
what I'll do, and this is actually a meditation tool that Kezia Luckett from Women of Contribution taught me a long time ago. And she said, just get your candle. It doesn't matter what candle it is. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be rituals. It could be a church candle. It could be a tea light. As long as you're looking into a flame, because what your conscious mind is doing is looking at the flame, which releases your unconscious mind to give you the answers. Oh, this smells so good, right? So you could just have that burning, and you're looking into the flame, and you empty your mind of anything that's in there if you can. If it pops in, anything starts to pop in, thank you, I'll talk to you later. Like, deal with it as if it's a person. I'm busy right now, I'll talk to you later. Just deflect it straight away. Sit there with your journal or a pad or a sheet of paper, just something that you can make notes on. And anything that comes into your head that's related to solving the problem, you write it down. Just anything that flows. Oh my God, I've had the most divine downloads. And I'll tell you, it's not coming from me. It is definitely not coming from me. There are things that have come out of those processes. And I'll maybe do that once a month. And I'll do it intentionally, not because I'm stuck on something. I'll just be like, okay, I'm listening. I've put the world is on hold. I've stopped the world. I've got off. I've closed all the doors. I've switched off all my technology. It's just me and you now, or you and I. Okay, I'm ready to download. Here I am. And I just look into the flame and I write down anything that comes out of that process. And there's some significant things that have come out of doing that.
Yeah, I totally get that. And what I get out of this conversation up to this point is that it's so important to be intentional. And what I especially love when you shared at the beginning is, and it reminded me of a tool that we shared during the workshop that Wendy Watkins and I did a couple of weeks ago, and we call it the Wheel of Happiness. And literally every area of your life is in that wheel. You can Google Wheel of Life. There are variations on this. And you can use that tool to set intention for each and every one of your areas, because we usually so focus, especially as entrepreneurs, we focus on the business, we forget the family, or even our own self-care, or maybe our finances, whatever needs some attention, but make sure you have an intention on each and every one of these aspects, just to make sure you don't forget anything, because we have a lot of input during the day from all sorts of areas, so you don't want to be forgetful about that. Well, as you know, Sammy, one of the things that I really value is the person behind the business. So if you grow, the business grows. So what are some of your best strategies you use to make sure that you keep growing and developing so your businesses can too?
Great question. And I shared one of them on the Motivational Monday call this morning for the Brand Builders Club. One of them is my table. So that's definitely helped me. It was the very first thing I did after I put myself through effectively what is now the 7-step brand Kickstarter system. Before I'd even made that, I was doing it automatically. And so when I launched How to Build a Brand, I went through, that 7-step process. And the first thing I did after doing that was to take a table and imagine that if I were going to have a dinner party and have the most amazing thought leaders around that table that could help me and mentor me to go further, who would they be? And so, and I do this around every 3 months, and I do it intentionally, and I do it without even thinking about it now. So it's like, right, we're going into a new phase. So we've got August, September, October are coming up. We've got some big stuff that's happening, big launches, stuff that's going on. We've got the summit at the end of the year. So I need to be very intentional and creational in what I'm doing. So, so for us to have achieved what we want over the next 3 months, how do I need to develop myself personally? Well, who do I need to look up to develop? And we kind of touched on this actually, Lubna. You mentioned this a little while ago. Is sometimes you're thinking, oh my God, I just can't get this, or I'm frustrated and it just won't happen. And it's in those moments when I'm thinking about the what. I'm getting so caught up in the what, and I'm getting so caught up in the detail that I can't get out of that. And so and it was actually Jane Mallion who gave this idea at one of our Brand Builders Club members days last year, I think, where she said, if you're not quite sure how, if you're just like, how do I do this? If you're not quite sure how and you're getting stuck on that, you just change those 3 letters, you just flip them around to who. So if you don't know the how, who will know the how. And so for me, that's incredibly important. So roughly every 3 months, I'll sit down and I'll work out, who do I want round my perfect dinner party table now? And it's perfectly acceptable to outgrow the people that you put on there originally, right? You're holding a new dinner party. Are there a couple of people that get to stay in their seat, or do they need to be upgraded now? Yeah. So on my very very first one back in 2011, when I was looking at starting how to build a brand, I was just thinking about it. It took me 2 years before I actually launched it, but it was a thought before that. And I was thinking about it, and I thought, okay, so if I were to have the perfect dinner party, who would be around my table? Okay, so what are some of the skills I need to either invest in or to master myself, so that I understand exactly what is my next step? And so I wrote around it. Public speaking. I knew that public speaking was going to have to be a big part of my journey. I knew that online marketing was going to have to be something that I mastered if I was going to build a business that was going to work predominantly online, so that I could travel and live the life and have the family that I want. And so I went around, and like social media was one of them, and content writing was one of them, and funnels were one of them. And so I ended up with 8 people around my table, but I didn't know who the people were yet. In fact, if for those of you that are in the Brand Builders Club, if you go into the online learning center to the Brand Builders Blueprint, this activity is the last activity within the Brand Builders Blueprint. So if you go and get the workbook, the very last one, this is mapped out for you. So all you've got to do is put their name and the skill in that place, right? So once I knew what it was, then I could work out the who. So I then started Googling, because this was back in 2011. I didn't know any of the stuff that I know now. I'd been building physical, time for money businesses with premises and staff. So I knew nothing about the online world really at that point. I was very, very kind of green behind the ears, as they say. And so I had to Google these people, because I didn't know any of these people back then. So I Googled public speaking expert UK, because I wanted something that I could learn, in the UK. And so a certain person popped up, and I was like, brilliant. So I put their name in that place, and then online marketing. So I typed in online marketing best online marketing training, because you want the best, right? So best online marketing training, and another certain person popped up. And so brilliant. So I put their name in there, and then I did the same for best social media training UK. That popped up. And so I populated my very first table with people that I'd never heard of, that I didn't know, but I made it my mission to know everything I needed to know about them and what they do. And I invested in myself to go through their programs. And, I had a few of them that I was doing at the same time, which was overwhelming. However, it sped my process up massively. So I was committed to putting the extra hours in to mastering that, because I knew that with, like you said, if I grow, then my business grows. So I did that. And it was really interesting. Within 6 months, I'd already outgrown 3 people on that table. So then it was like, and when I say outgrown, I don't mean has it outgrown them. I mean, has it outgrown the skill that I needed to master from them? Yeah. So then I look and I go, okay, well, actually, public speaking is still one. So your bum gets to stay on that seat. And online marketing, you can stay around for a while. But social media, actually, I've learned what I need to know about social media. Now I need to do Facebook advertising specifically. So you are going to go home, and I'm going to invite the next person to sit in that seat. And this is all complete mindset stuff, right? This isn't physically happening. Yeah. Although all the people I am now friends with personally, because I made it my mission to go through their programs, be the very best student that I could be. And I really mastered it for myself, and therefore that helped my business enormously. So and that's what I would do, and I would just keep changing them. So like this morning, I sat down and I made my next table. So that's one of the things that I do to master myself. The other thing is having great mentors. Like, you have to have great mentors, because they're, you know, whereas a coach will bring out the gorgeous shining lighthouse that's already in there, a mentor isn't there to bring that out. A mentor is there to show and guide you the way in something that they have already achieved, which again is why I'm looking at these people are my mentors as well. So have really great mentors, because they've already done it. That way you're not cutting corners. You're going to learn how to, you know, they've already cut the corners. They've already made the mistakes. Why would you want to make them yourself? So that would be my second thing, is the mentors. The third thing is nourish your mind with things that are not business. You know, whether that's family, whether that's taking your dogs for a walk, whether it's nature, whether it's reading, whether it's doing all of the above at the same time. Do something that really nourishes you. So, and that can change. So what I thought would nourish me, where, you know, last year, what I thought would nourish me was tons of travel. Well, I did tons of travel. I mean, I was away for pretty much the whole of the first 4 months of this year. And when I got back, I was exhausted. I was disconnected from my family, and I was disconnected from myself. And so I needed to make a new commitment. I needed to be intentional in a different way and reorganize stuff, because just because I thought that was what it was going to be doesn't mean that it has to be. So don't be so fixed on it. Oh, I said this, that you can't change it. And so what's really funny is we're selling this house that, you know, we've accepted an offer on the house, and then said, okay, well, you know, where do we want to go? And it was really funny, because Greg and I were looking at these houses, we're taking the kids around to the houses. None of us could find a house that there was nothing that was resonating. And so we were in France last weekend, and Greg says to me, well, what about a motorhome? Why don't we just hit the open road? Why don't we get a motorhome, a nice big Winnebago, you know, the brand builder's bus? We could take it on tour. We could do that. And it sounded great. But then when I thought about it and listened to myself, because you can get carried away with great ideas, when I really listened to what my higher self was telling me, it was like, but you hate being on the road, Sammy. You don't like being on the road. You hate road rage. You hate traffic. Why would you want a motorhome? And as we're having this conversation, we were stood overlooking a canal. And he says to me, what about a boat? A boat. So we could have a houseboat and travel wherever we wanted to, and have the freedom, and I'd be by the water and have the countryside, which are two big things on my list of where we live. Oh my God. And if we buy a boat, then that's in the family for a long time. So the kids can enjoy it, we can enjoy it, and we get to live in it. Perfect. So we start looking for boats in an intentional way. Last Sunday, we found the boat we wanted within one search. Went to see it when we landed in East Midlands. It happened to be only 25 minutes from the airport. So the guy said, yes, we could go and see it. Wow. We go and see it. We walk up, we're like, done. You know, I thought boats were like old dingy things, you know, canal boats. This is amazing. This is like just an amazing property that just happens to float wherever you want it to go. So it's like, oh my God. So we're pretty much doing the deal with this guy. This is in less than a week. So when you get intentional about your life outside of the business, guess what it does? It drives the business, because now you've got a reason. Now you're relaxed. Now you've got the things that you need to fulfill you while you're so busy fulfilling others. So it's really important that you have these little things, and it's a lot of moving parts constantly. I would say just be flexible, because now I've got travel, but I also get to travel and be home at the same time by being on a boat. So it's like, you know, how can you have it all? Because you can. So I would say doing a what if strategy. What if I could have this? What if I could achieve that? And then you look at it and go, well, actually, what if I could have all of that? What would that look like?
Yeah, great. What I love about that is that what you say, set intention on why and what, and not necessarily how or the details. Because when you wanted to sell your home, and I know that, and you were thinking about another home, and if you're fixated on that home and go look at other homes, you find out it's not about another house per se. It's a place that you can live, where you can get all of these things that you wanted. And before you know it, because you went out looking for another house, you knew that's not it. And it took that moment by the canal to find out, well, what about A husband? What about that? Her husband? How could that be? And then it goes fast. It's been my experience also, because when I decided to leave my corporate job at the end of 2017, I said, oh, there are two things that I want to focus on. Two, public speaking. I want to be able to feel confident to call myself a professional speaker, despite the fact that I've been speaking for almost two decades before that. And I want a foundation underneath my business. Those two things. And the moment that you and I met in the lounge
at a public speaking training,
and you started talking about what you do, I don't care what she's selling, I'm buying. Foundation, meet Sammy.
Yeah.
You've got what you wanted, and here we are. So it really works. It really works. Just focus on those things, but take action.
You've just said it. Time. Action is the thing. Like, we could sit there and dream about boats, or we can get shizazzle done and go and look at some boats and experience it and sense it and feel the experience of it. In fact, what's funny is the brand breakthrough show that I delivered on Wednesday, we got to the boat to go and have a look at it, and I was like, I've got to look around this really quickly. I've got 15 minutes and then I've got to go live. And they're like, what have you got to go live for? I said, deliver a show every week. They went, oh, that's all right, you can just go up there. And so I actually delivered the brand breakthrough show last week on the boat. And so, you know, it's not about just thinking it. You got to experience it, and by experiencing it, you'll create it. So the reality will be created. I remember when I was speaking at Trish Carr and Nancy Matthews' event at the Unconference a couple of years ago, and I'd never sold from the stage. Yeah. I'd spoke on loads of stages, but I'd never sold from the stage. And Trish says to me, what are you going to sell? I said, oh, it's all right, I'm just going to fly over and add some value. You're going to fly from England to Orlando just to add value? I said, yeah, I want to get experience in public speaking. She went, you've got to sell something. Oh God, well, what am I going to sell? Anyway, so I'm nervous as hell the morning before I'm getting on stage, and I'm laying in bed in this gorgeous hotel in Orlando. I'm laying in bed, nervous, right? And I'm thinking, okay, so what would happen if this, you know, what if this goes really well? What if I get on stage and I nail it? What if, this is why I love playing with what ifs, what if I go on stage and I'm more confident than I've ever been before? What if I go on stage and I have fun? What if I went on stage singing? What if I was so in flow when I was on stage that I touched every heart in that audience, whether they bought from me or not? They went and did something with it. What if, and I just played with what ifs, and by the time I'd done about 10 what ifs, I was like 10 men high, right? I was just like, boom. And I thought, okay, I'm going to visualize this now. And I'd never really used visualization in this way. I've done loads of visualizations, but I've never used it in this way. So there I am, got my eyes closed, and I imagine me walking on stage and I'm singing and I'm clapping, and I've got like the audience, they're in that zone because I'm in the zone. And I walk up on that stage and I give my heart to the audience, and I make that sale, and everybody wants to come running to the stand to buy from me. Well, I manifested it too well. So much so that all the people that came up to the stage nearly collapsed. So when they were doing a drum roll and they're like stamping their feet doing this drum roll, I'm like, okay, we've got to speed this up. And Donna Tornillo is stood at the stand. She'd only just become an ambassador for the Brand Builders Club. She was only just thinking about it. And she's looking at all these people on the stage. There's like, I don't know, 50 something people on the stage. And I'm saying, right, okay, great. So let's go over and see Donna. Donna will help you. And she's just like, whoa. And all these people come rushing to her. For 3 hours, I was signing books, we were taking orders, we were putting credit card orders through while other speakers were going on stage. Our stage was rammed, and I really, our stand was rammed. I believe that's because I set the intention. I believed it was possible. I did a what if, so that I knew what if it went right. Instead of thinking all the things that could go wrong, I'd worked on myself. Say what could go right, like what if I got the best out of this situation, and I manifested the visualization, because my energy, vibration, frequency, you can't not match that. You can't. The universe responds to the vibration that you're putting out, And so if you're going out there and your intention is, I'm going to make a difference to your life, not I'm going to sell 50% of the room. You go into that intention, it's like, I'm going to make a difference to every single life in that room. And at least 50% of them are going to go on and take action and do the most amazing stuff because I've got a process that can change their life. And if you go in there with that, the universe is going to deliver on it every time. It's going to conspire to do everything it can to make that happen for you. And I'm not really a massive, I'm not a law of attraction expert or anything like that, but I can tell you that it works 100% of the time when you do it, and that you believe it.
Well, what I love about there are some, fantastic. There are some great strategies that you shared there, and I'm gonna highlight one aspect because that's what I found is really important. He said, when you are in the zone, people will resonate with that. It's the vibration that you send out. And what I found is that a lot of people have absolutely no idea what in the zone for them means when they are in the zone. So they're out of the zone most of the time, and literally sending out that vibration and not getting that back. And it's one of the things that I'm frustrated about, and I really want to support people to get to know themselves in such a way that they know when I'm in the zone, and they can switch it. They can switch, get in the zone, and then
I mean, it really depends on who you got around you, doesn't it? Because and I talked about this. I put a post out the other day about this. Is that one of the strategies that as an entrepreneur you need to really protect yourself from is making sure that you do, and I mentioned it earlier, that you have those good mentors. Because here's what happens is you are, I don't know, let's say you're a wealth coach, right? Well, you're probably a wealth coach because back in the day something happened, you lost everything or whatever, right? This is a kind of, I'll just use an example. This isn't everybody's story, but maybe they lost everything. It all came crashing down, and they swore to themselves it had never happened again. And they went through this process, and they became so wealthy that they now want to give that back to others. They now want to train other people how they did it. So they then become a wealth coach. And so they now start training other people who were where they were. So here's the thing, you're an expert in what you do. You're an entrepreneur or a business owner or an entrepreneur that owns a business. And so you have 9 times out of 10, it's not always the case, but in most of the time, you are the person who is now training others how to do or solving problems for others because you had that same problem and you overcame that problem, right? Well, so you're here and they're back there. Not that they're lower than you, I'm just using that as a visual example, right? So here they are and here you are. You're in high energy vibration, you're nailing it, you've achieved everything that you want to achieve. Maybe you haven't achieved everything, but you've achieved as much as you want to achieve in that particular industry before you want to start training people. So you've got all these skills and experience. The problem that you have mindset wise, and something that's why a good mentor is worth having around and worth investing in, because you're up here and your mentor's actually up here because they've already achieved that success. So you want someone that you can look up to, and your greatest mentors are up there. That it's your source. That's your greatest mentor. So look there before you start looking there, before you come down to here where you are, right? But you, as the expert, are going to spend, if you're working with people who have the problem, you're going to spend probably 99% of your time back here in the problem because you're helping other people to solve the problem. So it's critical that you always can look up. You always need to be looking up, because if you're constantly just looking down, guess what? You're going to end up with the same financial problems again. And so, it's always about making sure that you've got that way of always looking up to a mentor and looking up to source. And that doesn't mean, it could be God, it could be the universe, it could be spirit, it could be, whatever that is for you, whatever source means to you. But you need to be connected to source, whether it's through the candle, whatever the meditation is that you do that gets you back to source. Just do it, because having that connection with that, and having the connection with great mentors who have achieved what you want to achieve. This is why the Brand Builders Club is so important, because we've surrounded our members with mentors that constantly are calling you to be higher. And so you can't stay in that energy for too long, because we don't let you. You've got to be up here while you're still serving there. And so that's incredibly important, again, with energy management and mentoring, just making sure that, you know, as a mentor yourself, or as a coach or a leader or authority, a trainer, a speaker, a consultant, a coach, whatever it is that you do, as that person, you can't just be like giving all of yourself to everyone that's in your tribe. You have to have someone that's giving back to you. You have to have ideally a group of mentors that are giving back to you constantly. Otherwise you'll end up, you'll feel lonely in your business all the time, and that really messes with your mental health.
Now, what I especially like about that, because there are a lot of coaches in the world, and a coach will get out of you what's already in you. You only get a good coach will ask you the questions because we believe that the resources are already inside of you. The difference with a mentor is they will tell you how to do something. The only thing that you need to be doing as an entrepreneur is action. Is implement what a mentor tells you, because that's what you need a mentor for. They've gone through it, they know what works, and they will save you from the mistakes that you can make, that you are making or going to make, especially if you are starting out. So what I really like about what you shared, Sammy, is make sure that you do not only have coaches in your life. Please make sure that you have at least one mentor, and I would say a couple, because they have different skills, different expertise. And the only thing you need to be doing, especially if you're frustrated or overwhelmed, is implement what they tell you to do. That's it. That's the easy part.
Because if you don't, they'll stop giving you that advice. It's simple as that.
But also, you'll not progress. That's the big part. Is if you want to progress, and especially if you're purpose-driven entrepreneur who want to make a huge impact really fast, because the world needs us, basically, is you want to be surrounded by mentors who tell you exactly what and how to do it, to make sure that you do not make any mistakes and you get out there in the world really fast. Sammy, I know you and I can keep going for at least 3 hours, days. Even more. A week.
And we do.
But I want to be mindful.
Every quarter.
Exactly. But I want to be mindful about your time, my time, and the viewers' time, whether you're watching this live right now or on the replay. So last remark, last punchline, whatever you want to share with the audience.
I would say be the brand you want to see in the world, because the world is missing you, and it's not just your right to go out there and claim your authority as the beautiful, gorgeous leader that you are, as the lighthouse that you are. It's not just your right to do so. You know, it's your duty to actually do it. It's your duty to go out there and do it. It's a duty to take action. And if you've got something that will support other people in their life, their business, their health, their wealth, their mindset, their finances, whatever it is that you do, it's your duty to get out there and change those lives in the way that only you know how. So take that treasure chest and, you know, don't just look at other people doing it. Be that brand. Live, breathe, eat, sleep, walk and talk it, and be what you're sharing others to do. Be it. Be that lighthouse. And soon that will give other people permission to also be that as well.
Brilliant. Hello, Nadine from Jamaica.
Hi, Nadine.
You're making us very jealous with all the beautiful pictures that you're sharing. And on the note of action taking, now Sammy shared her boardroom of tables of the skills that you need to learn to achieve whatever you want to achieve in the next 3 months. So share in the comments down below your people that you want to have on your table, because we might know them already for you, so we can help you with names. Share them in the comments. We'd love to know who you want to have in your life to support you. And I'm hoping to see you all next time on our next interview, next show. For now, have a happy day.
Take care.
Sammy,
see you soon. Lots of love. Mwah.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.